Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Spellbinders' Glimmering Flowers collection. I think it's been several months since I've pulled out my Glimmer machine, so I was really excited to play with Spellbinders' new Glimmering Flowers collection. The collection includes two different flower hot foil plates. I have the Glimmering Buttercups, but there's also a Glimmering Peonies design. Both are beautiful. One thing that's really fun about this collection, there are coordinating stencils for each of the flower images. I think the flowers look beautiful hot foiled without coloring, but they look just stunning using the stencils and adding that beautiful color. There's also a hot foil sentiment set. It's called Curved Everyday Sentiments. It includes 14 different sentiments along with a die that'll cut out that fun curved banner. 7 of the sentiments are included on one of the dies. After you hot foil it, you take the coordinating die, tape it in place, run it through your die cut machine, and one pass will cut out all 7 sentiments. So it's super easy. I figured since I had my Glimmer machine out, I may as well cut out a bunch of sentiments. And I have them all stored in Spellbinders craft stack trays. I love that they have lids for their trays. I'm showing you the smaller trays. There's also a larger size available. This size is basically 2 of the smaller trays side by side. I used a variety of different Glimmer foils. My favorite is the opaque white on black cardstock. I think it looks so pretty. I also used the coordinating die and cut out some of the banners. That way I could layer the sentiments. The new Curved Everyday Sentiment set has a nice variety of sentiments that you'll be able to use year-round. I'm currently trying to get caught up on all of my projects. I took about a week and a half off for spring break, so I didn't record any of the actual glimmering. I will add a link to another glimmering video if you need to see how it works. I used some of the gold Glimmer foil on some pattern paper by 49 in Marcotte. I used the Sherbert collection, and this is an older collection, and I don't think it's available any longer. For this card, I'll be using the coordinating stencil set. There are 5 different layers. 2 of them are for the flowers. I'm starting with stencil layer number 1. And the stencils are numbered in the lower left-hand corner. I have my pattern paper piece in Waffle Flowers Mini Stencil Mat. Now I'll line up the first stencil. We'll hold the stencil in place using Spellbinders' Best Ever Craft Tape. This is the 5/8 inch size. This tape is super sticky and it doesn't generally rip your paper, but sometimes when I have a brand new piece of tape, I first lay it on my hand. That just takes away a tiny bit of the stickiness. For the first flower, the ink color I'm using is Tiara by Catherine Pooler, and I'm doing a very light coat of yellow. Once I filled in that first section of the flowers, I'll use the same stencil layer, bring in Catherine Pooler's Sauna ink color to darker yellow, and I'll add a little bit of color just on the centers or bottoms of the flowers. And that'll help give the flowers a more dimensional look. Now remove the first stencil, and I will be reusing the 3 pieces of tape. As I mentioned earlier, it's super sticky, so I like to use the pieces until they won't stick any longer. For the second stencil layer, I'm using the same Sauna ink color. So it's adding that darker yellow along the outside of each of the petals. I'm also adding a little extra ink on the very inside of the petals and the bottom of the flower buds. I love the option of having coordinating stencils to go with beautiful images like this. Sometimes the stencil sets have so many layers and they're difficult to line up, but I found this set simple to use and very easy to line up. And even though there are 5 stencil layers, I'm only using 4 different colors of ink. I'll remove stencil layer number 2, and you can see the beautiful buttercup flowers. Now I'll bring in stencil layer number 3, and this layer has lots of the foliage pieces. One of the green colors I'm using is Eucalyptus. It's a slightly darker green than the next green ink I'll use. I am getting a little bit of ink on the pattern paper outside this stencil, but I'm not worried about it since I will be cutting down this panel. The full floral image is larger than an A2 size card, so if that's the size card you make, you will need to trim this down. If you do 5x7 cards, this image would fit perfectly. But even if you're using just a small portion of the floral image, it'll look beautiful on a card. I have just a few more areas to add ink on this stencil layer. Then I'll remove it and bring in stencil layer number 4. This layer has the stems and also some of the leaves. The ink color I'm using is by Catherine Pooler. This is Martini. It's a little brighter green color than Eucalyptus. For the leaves on this stencil layer, I'm adding a little extra ink, going for that darker color. Then for stencil layer number 5, the final layer, using the same Martini ink color, and this time I'm using just the leftover ink on my brush. There are only 3 areas on this stencil layer, so super fast to use. Once I finish adding ink to the 3 areas on this stencil layer, I'll remove the stencil, and now you can see the beautiful stenciled floral image. So pretty. The pattern paper piece is 6 by 8 inches, so I will need to trim it down. I didn't zoom out on the video, but this is a full-size trimmer, so you can cut 12 by 12 paper. I have a guillotine trimmer that I've been using for over 10 years. I'm very used to that. So there's always a little adjustment trying to use a different trimmer. The measurement placement on Spellbinders trimmer is different than the guillotine trimmer I use. But I will say Spellbinders trimmer cuts beautifully. I'm cutting down this panel to 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. I'm moving around the image on the trimmer, trying to figure out where I want to do the cuts, since I will be losing some of the beautiful floral image. I will be layering this panel on some green cardstock, and this is just cardstock from my stash. The cardstock piece is A2 size, 4 1/4 of an inch by 5.5 inches. I'll put ATG tape on the back of the floral panel, layer it on the green cardstock, then I'll flip it over, put adhesive on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. Now it's time to add a sentiment. I'll pull out one of my craft stacks that's full of sentiments. And for this card, decided to go with Hello Sunshine. I think that works really well with the beautiful yellow buttercups. For a little extra detail, you could layer the sentiment on another sentiment banner, but I decided against it for this card. I'm adding this sentiment on the right side of the card, and the very right side of the banner will go off the edge. I'll put glue on the back, adhere it in place, then I'll flip over the card, use my scissors, and trim off the overhang of the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For the second card, went with lighter yellow colors and also used a silver holographic glimmer foil. I think it gives the card a completely different look. I did make 2 more cards. This time I didn't use the stencil. The pattern paper is from the same 49 in Marcotte collection, this lovely rainbow look. For that first card, I used more of the silver holographic glimmer foil. And for the second card, I used black glimmer foil, so it has that little bit of shine. And on the background of the rainbow cards, I also added Spellbinders Splatter White Opaque Watercolor. And the white splatter really showed up on the card with the black glimmer foil. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. If you like to hot foil, this is a fun collection. The 2 floral images are gorgeous, and you can never have too many sentiment sets. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.